guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you everyone for the support from the last video. It was really amazing. I'm really glad everybody enjoyed it. I really want to do more educational content, and today is one of them. I want to pretty much express my knowledge towards you guys and try to share everything that I know in order to make some of your teams and your individual skills better. So today's actually a really interesting topic, which I think not a lot of people really put a lot of thought into it, and it's the scheduling of a team, basically the time management of a team. How you should schedule around different people, if you have work, if you have school, and how you should schedule if you're like completely free, and you have time for a bunch of practices, and pretty much your schedule is open. We are going to focus a lot on quality over quantity. I think that the perception of practicing is playing as much as you can in terms of scrims, and to get better, it's not really just doing that. We're gonna dive into it a bit more, and I think it's a topic that kind of left on the side, and only pro teams kind of like master that in a way. But again, nothing is like wrong or right. This area is very gray. It's not black and white. Every team is different. I'm gonna give you a broad stroke of how it should look like ish. You guys shouldn't really like just copy paste it. Everyone else works differently. I gave different examples as well as you guys can figure out what works for your team the best. But at the end of the day, I'm just gonna give you a direction to follow and kind of create your own path. Right, so let's get right into it. Let's jump right into the video. Okay, so we will start off the more advanced team schedule, the teams that have a lot of free time and obviously committed just to Counter-Strike, how they should work around. I gave a few examples as you can see on different days, qualifiers and scrim days as well as official days. I'm just gonna give like a broad stroke of what you should be focusing on in each day and how you should continue. Obviously, again, not everything is black and white, like right or wrong. You guys can take some ideas from here and implement it to your own team schedule, but at the end of the day, we're going to focus and dive right into like each one of the categories I just put here, and pretty much how you can use it to your benefit. So most of the teams that have a lot of free time and committed to Counter Strike, obviously you want to start early as well as to play as much as you can. That's why generally teams have 1 to 2 off days in a week, teams like that, and that's why I put Saturday off. Just notice that nowadays, especially in NA, there are a lot of cash cups and different cups and qualifiers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you guys might want to move that off day to either like Monday or something, but I'd say that an off day is very important in the team, as you really want to focus on having that reset day, that day to yourself, and kind of like just chill. Maybe some people don't even touch the game in the off day and just like have fun and do something different, because obviously your schedule is revolves around Counter Strike most of the day. So that day is kind of like your day, do your own thing. So off days are really important in my opinion. I don't think you need more than one off day. I think it's enough time to reset and to revalue the week, as well as to just take a chill time and kind of like process everything that happened, as well as just relax. So I put Saturday here, but again, it can move depending if you have a cup or if you have a qualifier or anything like that, something you need to play, or you took another day off during the week because you had to, in terms of like having a teammate that needs that off day, or I don't know, anything can happen pretty much. So Sunday is pretty much how I would say like a beginning of a team should look like, generally speaking, or depends on your need. So scrim days are really like dependent on your needs in a way as a team. So at the beginning, I'd say you obviously need as much stuff to be done in a beneficial way as possible. So that's why I added 3 hours of practice time. Obviously, you guys can see the times here, so I'm not really gonna dive into it. But you guys are going to start pretty early at around 12 o'clock, and you guys will pretty much have 3 hours of server work. Now, it's really important to have that server work beneficial and not wasting any time, I don't know, trolling, finding out new things. That's something that should be done on your free time, not during the team server work. So that server work can divide into a couple of things. Server work is not necessarily just going into the server and working on that. You guys can be watching demos as a team. For example, if you have played an official and there was some mistakes, as well as your coach recorded some scrims from the past days, and there are stuff that you need to talk over about and find some fixes. That's the time to do that. So, for example, you dedicate the first hour to demo watching because people will still be tired-ish. So you demo watch, you find ideas, you find solutions, and then you hop into the server right after. So on the server work, what you generally want to do is either add strats, fix strats, dry run, all of those things fall into the category of server work. Again, the most important thing is that everybody just kind of gives ideas in that server work time. Everybody talks, everybody's voice will be heard, and as a team, collectively, you guys have the same vision, and you guys figure out solutions together, which is really, really important. As well as dry running, don't slack on that at all. When you dry run, make sure that you dry run to perfection in a way when you feel confident enough in the strat that it will work, and then you can test it on the scrims later. Now, something that is really, really important in my opinion, don't overload yourself with new stuff. So you want to generally keep it simple of what you will use in the same scrim day. So the IGL usually does the server work and shows and explains and everything like that. So the IGL should always like have a certain thing that he wants to run during the scrims, and focus on that on the server work, perfect that, make sure it's good, and as I said, fix ideas, everything like that should be here. Don't add stuff that you probably won't use that same day, because if you don't use it the same day and for example you practice another map later on, the next day people might forget that. You want to perfect those things. You want to make sure that the things that you add are pretty much to perfection in terms of like your confidence level as a team, that you know that most likely it will work and you'll go through it. Okay, so after the 3 hours of the server work, I put a break. This break is basically to refresh yourself, to go eat, to chill, talk to your teammates, talk to your friends, do whatever you want, listen to music, kind of like relax, because obviously I had an intense 3 hours right here. Uh, Relax, eat, get energy for the scrims, and then you guys start scrimming. Now, for the scrims, I will kind of divide it to two categories, what you should be doing and how. So the main thing for me is you want to focus on a couple of maps per day. So for example, you want to start Mirage and Inferno. You work on Mirage and Inferno, for example, for 2-3 days, and you make sure again those strats that you want to add, generally all the strats and everything, and kind of like build around it. Work on those maps. You want to memorize them, and then you go on to the next two maps. I usually like to keep it 2 maps at a time. So, for example, you guys see that we have 2 scrims here. So the first scrim will be, for example, on Inferno. The second scrim will be on Mirage. Then you have break and fixes. I'll dive into it later. Then you have another scrim on Inferno, another scrim on Mirage, as an example. So on the scrims, again, what you should be focusing on is what you went through the server work and what your IGL told you guys are gonna focus on. In scrims, it's really, really important to have goals. So the goals you're gonna need in the scrim is like, okay, as a T side, we want to practice the strats that has been shown in the server work. As a CT side, we want to practice uh, on a certain setup, playing aggressive, playing more passive in one side or the other. And you guys want to have goals and make sure you accomplish them, and you find fixes to the possible problems that you will encounter during those scrims, because you're actually playing a team. So after you've done those 2 scrims and you focus heavy on, again, having goals, what you did in the server work, fixing stuff, this break is again also to eat, but at the same time, after you're done with the second scrim, you guys are still fresh, you guys still remember those last 2 scrims you played, and it's really important that you talk about what went wrong and how can you fix it. So as an example, a strat you ran didn't work because you need an extra flash. Make sure you add that flash and make sure whoever needs to throw that flash knows that. And then the next 2 scrims, you guys fixed it, so you guys can try to use those fixes and see if they work. And if they don't work, after the fourth scrim, here at 8 p.m., you guys can talk over about another possible solution as well as in the next day. So this is basically a heavy practice day, I would say. a lot of hours, a lot of work, but it's still good for stamina. It's also really good to practice stamina like that. I'll show you guys another way, another day like Tuesday here, as you guys can see. It's a really good day to practice stamina as well. Now Monday, I just gave it like a little bit of less server work, so that's in the case like you guys just want to add new stuff, or you have like a little bit of fixes inside the server and a demo watch, so it's 1 hour of demo watch and 1 hour of server work, and basically the break is the same, scrims are the same, all that will be the same. But generally, the server work is just less needed that day. That server work can adjust in regards to what the IGL or the coach need that same day. So I'd say that the Sunday schedule is basically the most common one for starters, for started teams. If you have like an official or an event to prepare to, so you have a lot of stuff to work on. So you want to make sure that you benefit from that practice day as much as you can. So on Monday it will be a bit easier. And then we dive into Tuesday, and you see that there is only 1 hour server work. Now this can be just to add like a couple of shots that the IGL wants, or again to review a demo. And this is more to for teams that, for example, took an extended break, and they still have their stuff, and they just need to get back to the groove. I'd say that's basically a broad stroke of how a team should slowly get back into it. So you have your server work, the refreshment, some dry runs. You have that break. It's really important because you want to eat even after the server work. It's time. It's time to eat. It's a lunch break basically, and then you go heavy into scrim. So again, you have two scrims. It's kind of like getting warmed up a bit and stuff like that. Then the breaks and the fixes, again the same thing. And then you have three scrims after that. So kind of building up your stamina, playing a lot. Now something that I also want to dive into. You guys saw that I didn't enter any warm-ups before those server works, but it's really important on the individuals that they won't be slacking. And there is a video about consistency and improvement that I made, and it's talking about a routine that every player should have to keep himself consistent, and that's pretty much what you have to do as an individual. And nobody should kind of hunt you to do it. You should wake up in a normal time if you're obviously living and breathing CS, warm up, do your routine, and then dive into practice. It's on your responsibility to do that, not no one like it's not an IGL to put it in a schedule or the coach. All right, so we went into Tuesday. Tuesday is a more scrim heavy day. I'd say this is again more for teams that are coming off a break or didn't play for a while, for a week or so, and want to just get back into it. And yeah, basically that's it. Those are generally the scrim days that you guys may or may not encounter. There is another scrim day which I put on Friday, but we'll get into it when we get into the column. So right here we're looking at Wednesday. Wednesday is basically I put it as an official day. So you have an official match. Usually it's a best of three. Sometimes it's a best of one. I put it here as a best of three, as you guys can see, 3 games. So you'll start at 7 p.m. Usual start time for like premier matches and stuff like that. And then you have 3 games, which will generally end at 9 p.m. 8 is the start time if you go full 3 maps, obviously. So right here, I did put warm up in because it's really important for everyone to know that they need to come warmed up. Uh, Now this is really important, the prep and the game plan. So in the prep and the game plan, you basically want to focus on with your coach and the IGL. Obviously, it's something that should work together. What you guys need to do at that certain day against that certain team. So usually it will come into anti-shredding from the coach and the IGL, maybe an analyst if you have some, and you guys will talk over what strats you guys will be running, how you guys will be playing against that team, what you guys need to focus on certain maps, and generally have a structured game plan. After that, in the scrim following, you guys will most likely try and get a scrim that you think you'll play, a map that you think you'll play at the same day. So for example, you think that you'll play overpass, so try to get a scrim at least on overpass and try to practice that game plan. Now don't stride from that game plan. Make sure that you use that scrim to practice that game plan, as you use other scrims and the other days to practice certain goals and make sure those certain strats run well. This is basically to prepare yourself for the match. So you need to run the game plan and make sure it's good. So basically, if something is bad, you can fix it on the spot. And then you guys have a warm-up break slash ritual. So a warm-up break, usually If you want to eat, you can eat, then start warming up for the official match. Don't do too much, just whatever makes you feel good. And then ritual, I put it because it's something that we generally do and I know some other teams do. It's basically something to get you in the zone of playing an official, something that's different than a scrim, because obviously, as you guys know, most of the schedule revolves around scrims and practice days. So you need that switch in your head to kind of like focus on, now I'm gonna play on an official and not a scrim, and make sure you make that switch inside your head and you're fully focused on what you need to do and execute the game plan to the best of your ability. So that's for an official day. Now we're gonna look at Thursday. I put Thursday as a qualifier day. Again, sometimes and days may vary. It can be Saturday, can be Friday, can be Sunday, can be Monday even. Like that, really depends on the tournament organizer. But I just put it as an example. Obviously, before a cup, I'd say you don't really need to do a lot of server work. You already prepared the whole week, you practiced, and you're going to have a pretty hefty day in terms of playing. Usually it takes 5 to 6 matches a day, at least. So you'll be playing a lot of Counter-Strike, so overwhelming yourself obviously won't be good. So if you do server work and then you jump into the qualifier, it'll kind of toast your brain towards the end of the day. So what I would say, generally, use that hour before the qualifier to warm up, join the TeamSpeak or Discord, whatever you guys use, talk to your teammates, just, I don't know, warm up together as a team, talk some shit, uh, whatever you guys like, and then jump into the qualifier. Again, make sure you guys wake up with that switch ready, that it's an official day. You guys pretty much do it as a ritual, but that warm up is kind of like making sure everything is nice and warm. So Friday I put it as a short day because you guys will have short days here and there, but generally it's Friday. So on Friday I put just warm up, so that's like pretty much your warm up and routine, and then you go into 3 scrims. So that's basically a nice day to kind of just recap the whole week again. Those scrims you want to generally focus on fixes and goals, as I said. So if we look back in the week, for example, this week that's here, you had 2 officials, you had scrim days. You probably have a lot of mistakes that you want to focus on. Make sure that you have goals in terms of fixing those mistakes on those 3 scrims. And then Saturday is an off day. As I said, it can vary into Sunday, Monday, whatever day it is, but generally try to keep one off day a week. So again, that's for more of an advanced teams that have more time um, to come into the game, basically living and breathing Counter-Strike. That's basically more of a professional team, semi-professional teams, or teams that aspire to be that. It's not necessarily wrong, and a lot of teams can allow themselves that. But again, to more of the casual teams, we're gonna go off of work schedule, so it's mostly like 9 to 5. So we'll jump right into it right now. Okay, so as you guys can see, this one is more of a compact schedule. Again, I put a different off day, I'll explain why, but as you guys can see, I generally put like a 9 to 5-ish work, as it's like work and school pretty much. That's generally the time that you'll get, and then Friday and Saturday is a bit of a slower day in work, I'd say, so I put like for Friday that you get off at 3, and for Saturday that you get off at 9, sorry, at 2. So it's just again, things may vary, schedules are different, people are different, but I'd put a general assumption of workloads. So I put Sunday off because again, Sunday you usually don't have work or school, and I'd say this is a really nice day to relax and kind of like just forget about everything. You don't want to overload yourself here as well, because as you look at the schedule, even though the CS schedule is pretty significantly smaller than the advanced team schedule, you still have a lot of work and school here, so it's a lot on you, a lot on your body, a lot on your mind. So that Sunday is a really good day to just literally do nothing and get some energy for the week. Again, things may vary because qualifiers happen in Sunday too sometimes, Saturday and then goes into Sunday. But try to have an off day. This is really important, especially in this schedule. Really, really important. Okay, so we are going to go on to Monday. So right here on Monday, you guys can see again, pretty much work and school schedule, generally again 9 to 5. So I kind of like took three different approaches here. So right here, you guys can see I put warm up and server work. So right here, you get off of 5, you probably get home at 5:30, sometimes more, sometimes less. If this is a possibility, you guys want to hop into it at around 6:30 and start doing some server work and warm ups, whatever you guys need here. Um, Again, we dived into what to do in the server work. It's literally the same thing, but here you must know that you need to time manage the server work. It's really, really, really important. You don't have a lot of theory time. You don't have a lot of server work time. You need to make sure that every moment counts, and you need to make sure that everything works good. So right here, for example, you have 30 minutes, so 6:30 to 7 you do a demo review, just as an example, and then 7 to 8, you do server work, which adding new strats and dry running. So I'd say if you have 2 strats and dry run those, that will take an hour, and you need to make sure that you perfect that and you don't waste any time. You make sure that you fix whatever you need to fix and go into it. So in those 3 scrims, again, like the previous schedule, you want to have a certain goal on both sides, what you want to focus on and how you will focus on that. Don't stride off of it. Make sure that you focus on that goal and find fixes if that goal doesn't work. So for example, it's running a strat, the strat doesn't work 3 times, try to find a fix for it during that scrim. It's really important. Don't be afraid to take tack poses or just pauses in the game and make sure that you are focused on um, fixing those mistakes. Really, really important. Make sure that every moment counts right here. As you guys don't have a lot of playtime, and it's really, really difficult. But again, something I also added here, as you guys can see, is later scrims finishing at around 11 p.m. It's a sacrifice that you guys need to take if you want to at least be a contender team in some of the medium to medium high tier events. So you guys need to sacrifice a bit of time and obviously sleep. Unfortunately, something that I personally did. Not the best for your body, but obviously if it's something that you aspire to do, it's something that you need to do. Um, Again, make sure that every moment counts and don't just troll. Do something that you shouldn't be doing. Just make sure that you're staying in your lane as a team and practicing to the best of your ability that day, so you're pretty much not wasting any moment of the practice. Right? Right here, I would say this schedule, I would keep 3 maps a week tops, maybe even 2. I'd say 2 maps a week is pretty good, and make sure that you scrim the hell out of them. Make sure that the scrims are focused on those 2 maps and perfecting those 2 maps. Maybe it will take even 2 weeks sometimes, but make sure that you guys are comfortable with those 2 maps you're working on before you go on to the next 2 maps. So Tuesday is a bit of a lighter server work day. It's if you get home at right before 6 and you can only hop at 6. That server work again is really important. You need to divide it into like demo watching, dry running, and uh, theory, server work, getting strats, whatever fixes, and you need to make sure that time management inside that server work is to the best of your ability. So for example, 15 minutes of showing strats, 30 minutes of dry running, 15 minutes of fixes. As an example, make sure that you stick to that schedule you put yourself into. Right here, I put a different scrim schedule that you guys can also try and use. So you guys, again, do that server work, focus on those 2 scrims, on what you pretty much discussed, maybe even in the previous day. Make sure that you have a goal in those 2 scrims. Then you have a break if it was a long school day, or generally you just like breaks after scrims and you just need that like time to eat or something, or fix anything. Right here, you find fixes for those 2 scrims. You talk about what went wrong. Then you go into your break, you come back and you have the last scrim, and you make sure that you make the best out of that last scrim in terms of having the fixes and trying to like focus heavy on the goals that you set yourself early on that day and making sure everything works good. Again, you'll be playing against live competition, so it will be harder, and obviously sometimes you will have higher opposition scrims, which can sometimes be annoying if you get owned or something like that, but at the end of the day, you need to make the best out of it, and if you are playing against a better opposition, that means that you can see more holes in your game and you can close those holes faster. So you guys need to be criticizing yourself as a team and making sure that everybody takes this criticism right, and you don't really get annoyed by it, and you guys just work efficiently to fix those holes. I took Wednesday as an official day. Generally, teams like that, mid tier, high tier, whatever teams like that that playing advanced, for example, they have a best of one official, generally speaking. So right here I gave prep and game plan rather than server work. We went on to what prep and game plan is already. So I don't need to re-explain it. Then I didn't have a break for the ritual. You guys will jump into the scrim right away. You guys will make sure that you guys practice that game plan and talk about what you guys need to talk about. Try to end the scrim at least 10 minutes prior to it so you guys can have that at least like 10-minute break-ish. And you guys jump into the official, obviously after you prepared and you tested that game plan in a scrim. Really, really important. You always want to do that. So take Thursday as an example. That will be generally just a scrim day. So say for example, in the past week you've read all the strats, you've had less scrims, you found all the fixes, but you didn't have enough time to play as a team. You got only 2 to 3 scrims, and you feel like you just need to play together more on and around those strats more. So this is basically a 4 scrim day. Again, you guys would have those goals that you worked on earlier in the week, or again, teams are coming off of like a week break, for example. This is a perfect way to start it. So you guys have a warm up. You can add server work here, but generally I said just warm up, being the teams agree with each other, have some fun, jump into scrims, have goals in those scrims. The IGL will say right before each scrim, the goal is this, the goal is this. And you guys will focus on that during the scrim day, build up your stamina. Obviously, you still have work and school prior to that, so it's a pretty hefty day still. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, a perfect schedule for teams coming off of a break, especially teams that have work and school schedules. So I took Friday as the shorter day. Usually you don't have scrims, you don't have qualifiers there. Sometimes you do, usually you don't. So I added 2 hours of server work. Right here, it's very important. You guys can use those 2 hours to the best of your ability. Doing the demos from the past week, that's gonna be your demo day, as well as some server work and fixes off of those demos. And then you kind of have a scrim similar to the more advanced teams schedule that I showed you guys. So you have 2 scrims, focus on those goals, breaks and fixes. Already spoke about that. 2 scrims, focus on the goals, and then talk about the whole day. Do a recap at the end. Saturday, I took as pretty much of you have a little bit of work and then you have a qualifier. That's usually the case. I'd say the warm up is on you, but right here, between those two, 4 to 3, 2 to 3, sorry, you guys probably get back at 2:30. Make sure you warm up for the qualifier, and again, trust your preparation during the week for the qualifier, and try to make that switch when you come back off of school that this is an official day. So basically, that's the whole video. Kind of shine some lights again on some certain subjects and some different categories that you want to have on a schedule as a team. Again, it's really gray. There is no black and white here. Anything can change. You guys can take ideas, but generally speaking, you guys need to make sure that your practice worth the time. You're not wasting any time doing some stuff that you shouldn't be doing. You need to focus on what you will be actually using during a game, and make sure that you guys take it into steps. So think about a building basically. You need to build a brick by brick, and you need to focus on the steps slowly as a team. So make sure 2 strats running good, go on to the next 2. 3 strats are running good, go on to the next 3, etc, etc, etc. Same with maps. If you're focusing on 2 maps, make sure you're good with those 2 maps. CT&T side, after you're fully good with those, make sure you continue building your 2 other maps and building your map pool further. But make sure you're confident enough in all the maps before you move forward to another map. It's really, really important to make every practice beneficial, because you don't really want to waste time. It's kind of like work. You don't want to waste time not working when you could be, generally making more money. Same thing for professional teams. Making money is time, obviously, but generally you want to make sure that every moment is productive in practice. If you guys have any questions, you guys can message me on Twitter, just DM me or tweet at me, as well as in the comments down below. I'll be answering some questions. I hope this video actually gave you guys some insight on what a schedule is and how you create a schedule. Every team should have a schedule, not just run off of like one guy or a couple of guys saying, okay, I'm free tomorrow at that time. You guys should have a pre-booked schedule that everybody knows how to follow, and if something needs to change for a certain week, you guys can do that, but generally try to have a certain schedule that works the best for you. I gave you a couple of examples of different days that you guys can use. You don't have to copy paste this. Again, it's example days. You guys need to find out what works the best for you and make sure that you guys pull through with that. I really hope this helps you again. If you guys have any other ideas that you want to hear or some things that you want me to share, obviously, uh, just comment down below. Don't forget to just like, subscribe, and all of those things. I do have another really interesting video coming out. Actually, should be coming out the next week as well. So just make sure you stay tuned to that. I really hope you guys like that type of content because I love making that. And thank you guys again for the support. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.